In this video, I'm going to be talking about the grand solar eclipse that is happening April 8th, the year 2024. So my name is Nancy Rebecca, and I have pre-recorded this particular video because I'm going to be talking about some of the historical cultural beliefs around a solar eclipse event. Now, I'm not going to be going into everything that's happening right now. I will just kind of touch into around the solar eclipse, but you can find a lot of information out there in regards to why this particular solar event is of great significance. And you are going to be able to find probably any video that you need to find that's going to validate your belief system, all the way from it is the end of times, all the way to it's the beginning of times. It's transformational. So there's a lot of different beliefs out there, but I'm a psychic clairvoyant. I'm a nurse, and if you've been following any of my videos, you will always know that I'm always encouraging you to really tune in. Tune in. Listen inside, listen to your spirit, listen to the God of your heart to get your own information so that you're not kind of like this bouncing ball trying to figure out what's really happening here. So as I'm recording this, I am in Arkansas. So I am in the portion of the United States that is going to be able to experience the actual solar eclipse event in real time. I'm super excited about it. However, as I'm kind of pre-recording this, because I'm not there yet, but as you're watching this, I am going to be right there. I'm already starting to hear that in the area they're calling in the National Guard, and they're having to call in more state troopers from other states because so many people are driving to the kind of that zone, solar eclipse zone, so many people that it could double the population in those particular states. So I'm going to be sitting in the parking lot of my hotel watching it, and I will love to give updates later. But let me jump in and talk about the solar eclipse. I've made some notes here just because I was curious. So solar eclipses have held various historical and cultural significance over hundreds of thousands of years. And often there's that folklore, the cultural beliefs, the myths that have been created so that people could attempt to understand what is astrologically happening. Now, we happen to live in this year of 2024 where we have so much information available to us. But imagine that it was 10,000 years ago for you, and you have the sun, and then suddenly the moon passes in front of the sun, completely blocks out the sun, and then there's this long period of time of complete darkness. Well, you can imagine that that could be quite frightening. Like, what just happened to the light in the middle of the day? And so in some cultures, this is what I'm going to talk about. So there are some cultures that believe that this is a divine omen. So that it is an intervention of the divine. And the ancient culture solar eclipses were interpreted as omens, messages from the gods that you should pay attention to. And in many of those cases, because we're so easily influenced, more influenced by fear than we are by good news, a lot of times they would assume that whoever is the ruler at the time, something is going to happen, that there might be a war that's triggered, that some bad things are going to happen. They have in those cultures, you should hide in your house and not see the eclipse. So there's a lot. In Mesopotamia, they saw the eclipse as the wrath, the coming of the wrath of the gods because they were upset with us. So we can kind of easily see how that could happen, right? So in the mythological narratives of solar eclipse, for example, in Norse mythology, they believed that the sun was swallowed up and that the wolves would chase the darkness away so that the sun would return. So it's really connected to wolves. In other cultures, it talks about warding off. They felt like it was evil spirits that stole the light, that they kidnapped the light, that they took the light away. So in many, many cultures around the world, they would do a lot of kind of banging of pots, beating of drums to chase away the evil spirits so that the sun could come back. And when I was doing my reading, I found out that, yeah, it's actually in a lot of cultures something quite similar. They may use different, have stories about different animals, but the banging of the pots and the drumming is quite a large part of the culture. So they considered them celestial predators that they had to chase away. But in other cultures, they have believed that it provided an enormous opportunity for scientific advancement. And I thought this was really interesting because it says in 1919, Sir Arthur Eddington observed and was able to confirm Einstein's theory of general relativity by showing that the light in distant stars would bend, and so was able to confirm that theory of Einstein. And then those are the modern cultural events, which is what I will be participating in. So you see, I've got my little special galactic sweater that I will be taking with me. I have my little special glasses so I can look up at the sun as the moon is moving in front of it. I have 6 family members who are coming, to include 2 of my grandchildren who are coming. I am from Arkansas, so that decision as to where we were going to go was made quite easily for me. So what's going to happen is we've got our hotel rooms around, but we know we're not going to be able to drive anywhere. We'll just be sitting in the parking lot with probably tens of thousands of other people observing this. And so, yeah, that's how we're going to do it in modern times. It's going to be a cool thing to witness. But what other things might people be feeling around this? Well, I do know that the governor in Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee, is already calling in all kinds of help. So they're really expecting that this may have some problems with the influx of so many people. And it's like they've been ordering porta potties from the surrounding states to come to assist with handling this surge of people that will be coming in. So I'll have to give you an update when I get back. So some of the superstitions and myths around this are, again, it's about the gods consuming the sun. They believe that the dragons would come along in China and swallow the sun. Again, I said in Norse history, it was about the wolves chasing and devouring the sun. And then there are the evil omens that, again, about the divine wrath. And there's a lot of it here, and I'm not saying that that's true or not true. I know where my own belief system kind of weighs in. I tend to be very positive by nature, so my mind would probably not allow me to go to that wrathful place. I did see a couple of the videos that kind of popped up that someone else was sharing. I started watching it. And Yvonne said, stop watching those. So I find that interesting. But there's a lot of people in the United States that firmly believe that that is what is happening right now. So the temporary darkness, again, they would want to ensure in the mythology that the sun would return. They would make a lot of noise to chase away the darkness. Let's see, anything else here? Nope, I think that's about it. Oh, so pregnancy and fertility. They did believe that there was a lot of fertility, that women were very fertile during this time, and that they believed that women needed to stay out of the range of the eclipse so that no harm would come to the pregnancy. Now, it's interesting that I was reading about in birthing, children being born, there were definitely some cultures that believed that that was a bad omen. For me, when I kind of tuned in, it was like, wow, this is for the children being born during this eclipse. They're going to be very, very special, special children. So, and then there's transformation and renewal, which is the camp that I stand in. So let me explain a little bit about where I'm coming from in regards to that. So if you've been watching, if you're new to my channel, I talk a lot about frequency. I tune into the frequencies. I started this in very small ways, where I wanted to tune into the frequency of where I might be going. I might tune into the frequency if I was making a trip and I wanted to kind of touch in and see what kind of frequencies I could expect. I've been making these blue light hotspot about the frequencies, the underlying frequencies of different countries where the blue light is coming in. I do once a month the frequency forecast. Now, I will be doing the April frequency forecast will be out by the time you see this particular video. But when I first looked at this time frame that we're in, because we're, this lunar eclipse and solar eclipse and all kinds of other astrological events that just make this super special time. So I had no idea about the eclipse. I don't follow astrology. I follow energy. But once I follow the energy, then I'll look at astrology to see if it matches up. So here I am, got my eyes closed, kind of watching the energy through March, April, and May. And suddenly I saw this, it's just like this line went off the Richter scale. It would be like if there was an earthquake that, you'd see the lines get really big. That's what I saw. And so I went and looked up my April calendar to kind of see what's happening around that time. And then that's when I realized it's a solar eclipse. So, yeah, the moon is coming in front of the sun. And yes, a few minutes later, the moon is going to move out of the way and the sun will return to make a beautiful, bright day. But the frequency, it's almost like stepping into an elevator on the first floor and it rising up to the 100th floor. So vibrationally and spiritually, your spirit, your soul is already has multidimensional capacity. So your spirit's really going to rise. I call it the solar eclipse expansion. You're going to expand into a greater state of awakening consciousness, enlightenment, which I always talk about. Our spirit's already enlightened, but more of that awakened consciousness, enlightenment is your body's going to expand more so that your ability to take in higher levels of wisdom and knowledge will be enhanced. And then the rest of April, after the solar eclipse, we're going to have several astrological events that are going to help and enhance that. So for me, as a registered nurse, I always like to talk about, what's going to happen to your human energy field? Are you going to be able to adapt? Are you going to be able to integrate it? So, yep, you might be having headaches. You might be having migraines. It's going to impact the neurological system of your body. It's going to affect, enhance kind of reboot the brain and the spinal column and all the nerves, the gray matter, the white matter, and I'll talk about that in a bit more in another video. So the neuropathy, like I've already been feeling like tingling in my hands and my feet. I'm feeling a little bit of kind of like these little electrical jolts. Not too bad. And then it'll seem like it'll warm up and it'll go away for a while as well. So this solar eclipse, whether you are in the eye of the solar eclipse, whether you are full on experiencing its 100% eclipse, if you're not there, you're still going to have an experience. So I would suggest that you look up wherever you are in the world and look up the timing of it. Now remember, in spirit, there's no time or space, but yeah, you might want to look up at the time and do some meditations around that time period. And really tune in and see how you feel about this solar eclipse. What is your superstitions? What is your myths that maybe you grew up with, or maybe somewhere there was a past life or some ancestral information that talks about the solar eclipses? So I'm not quite sure, but I will definitely be letting you all know what my experience was afterwards. So as you're listening, this is where I will be in Arkansas. And I look forward to also hearing what your experiences are in the comments section so that I can read those. All right, take care, everyone. Enjoy the solar eclipse, April 8th, 2024. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be fantastic. It's probably one of the most significant solar eclipses in my lifetime for sure. And I plan on being expanded in incredible, delightful ways. So that's where my headspace is going to remain. And I hope you find some peace with it yourself. All right, take care, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye-bye.